I'm very pleased to be able to share with you some of our customer experiences at Temenos and how they use core banking technology to address many of the issues that we face in our industry today.
Undoubtedly, the core banking software is a foundation to retail banking. It's therefore critical that the software and its support structures can effectively provide the services that support the bank's goals. I'm Ralph Silva. I'm a broadcast analyst with SRN, and I had the privilege of sitting with some Temenos clients to discuss their experiences. I started with Ida Berwaningsh of Bank Sahabat, a Temenos client for some time, and I asked her how the technology supports her segmentation goals.
In my opinion, what we need to segment our customer is a very good process. And when we were in the stage of determining which, because this bank is a greenfield bank, so we started from scratch. And when we decided to take Temenos, that was because we are very confident that Temenos is a very good processing system.
So what was the primary reason why you selected Temenos T24 for what is essentially the most critical application any bank can operate?
Banking is an industry with international standard. So we have to pick a system which comply to the industrial standards. So if in case there is a change, in case there is a change in the regulation, because even though the bank is in Indonesia, it's all controlled by Basel II requirements. And that's why the international exposure of Temenos is very important. And the second is because Temenos is already applied in so many countries. So they are past their learning period. Yeah. I think they are very mature in every solution that they offer to us.
Does a Temenos solution really result in efficiency gains? And if so, how?
I'm coming back to the business that I'm in, which is the retail microfinance. And the transaction number every day is so huge that doing it manually is almost impossible. So that's why we need a system to back up. If we had done it manually, I think it would mean that we have to hire a lot of employees, and that means inefficiency for our company. But because the system is so standard, and then we ask for everybody to comply to that system, they don't know any other way of booking the transaction except through Temenos. So I think it's very good because we can increase the efficiency. We don't have to hire that many people, and that will eventually increase our profitability. And then the second is also because Temenos is, we can use Temenos also on an online basis because we have a very big network and we are operating from many places. That's why we, without the strong system like Temenos, it will be very difficult to have an integrated data because we want an integrated data on a daily basis, as well as for month and day end, week, month end, we've got to have everything very perfect.
ADBL is another satisfied customer, and I asked Kanchan Basniat why they selected Temenos as the foundation of their technology infrastructure.
We know Temenos provides us with the best options because my bank, being a government bank, was widespread. It's a mixture between a microfinance and a full-fledged commercial banks. So with T24 and the new MCB model, I am hoping to achieve everything I'm looking for. Basically to centralize even that little branch far off in the village, even go down all the way to that end. So Temenos does provide me that flexibility which other competitors don't.
Was efficiency an important factor when you selected the Temenos solution, and have you in fact realized efficiency gains?
This is a government bank which is overstaffed. It's one of the biggest, 241 branches spread all across Nepal. The reason we have more than 3,600 staff is because we do everything manually. So we have just signed a contract with Temenos, and what we expect to do within the next few years is at least give out voluntary retirement service to 1,500. That's our plan But once we have the system in place, maybe that could go up or down a little bit. But that's where we anticipate Temenos will give us a lot of savings in the operating expenses.
Do you feel that the Temenos solution has helped you reduce the risk of your overall operations? And if so, how?
The CBS being a centralized system, it gives you the management has the more latitude of controlling everything centrally, down all the way down to the branch level. So risk is definitely mitigated from that one aspect. With it being a centralized and the closer business being performed every day, there's very little chances of this, even the staff's doing anything fraudulent. So it does enhances for us, people like us moving from a manual system to a centralized system. It does offer us a lot of flexibility and a lot of different tools to at least control and mitigate risk.
Regulations are likely going to be the most important catalyst of change. How does Temenos support you in this area?
But what I feel is the regulations are always changing. The anti-money laundering, all this and that. And so far, all the directives that have come out of the central bank has been very well supported by Temenos. Without even them helping us out, we've been able to implement all the directives within ourselves. So it's flexible in that sense. And so far, we've managed everything.
Fred Cook from North Shore Credit Union sat down with us to discuss how Temenos solutions facilitate rapid development of new products.
It does in the sense that although we're relatively early in our usage of T24, we just went live about 7 months ago. We certainly built a lot of products to go live, and we have a good handle on that. And one of the reasons we were looking at T24 was to have a dynamic tool that we could not just build out tools rapidly for a mass market strategy, but more of a segmented, smaller segments, and potentially right down to individual products for different potential customers that we would be supporting. I mean, we were the first ones to roll out the arrangement architecture from Temenos, and what we looked at that when we looked at that was sort of a leading on the leading edge in the sense of looking at customers not in bulk, but being able to segment down to those of the individual client. And we think the arrangement architecture is the right approach, and its individual and its ability to share and reuse different tools from different applications.
Okay, well, how does the T24 application, it is T24, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does the T24 application work with your other applications in the industry? Do they integrate well or not well?
They actually work well. I mean, that was the whole point. Our banking system, when we were replacing it, it has to fit into our banking environment. And so we are heavy users of CRM, and we use it from the front to the back. We're heavy users of business process engines and also of our warehouse strategy. So our banking system is an anchor to our banking environment, but it has to be able to talk and move information back and forth across these other platforms. And so that was key.
Okay. His colleague, Chris Catliff, joined us to discuss the bank's use of Temenos in a multi-channel environment that North Shore Credit Union is rightfully proud of.
Right, so we have mobile banking, internet banking, call center banking, automated telephone banking, branch banking, lots of banking, and T24 covers it all and allows us to interface with all those channels and allows us to give a great service to our customers.
Has Temenos helped you manage regulatory change? And are you confident of their ability to do so in the future?
The success of T24 is in the fact that it used parameters to change products as opposed to a lot of coding. So we've been able to bring the product into Canada, and we had some government changes that occurred, and we were very quickly able to introduce some new tax-free savings accounts in our implementation. So we were quite impressed with how Temenos T24 was able to be modified quite quickly.
Thank you. I trust that was valuable. Expect to see plenty of innovation from Temenos and from our clients in the coming months.